Interview question. You have one node in your cluster with a powerful graphic card meant only for machine learning jobs. How do you make sure your ML pod actually lands there? This is part 18 of the Kubernetes series. By default, Kubernetes can schedule any pod on any node. That's a problem when you have a specialized hardware, a node with a graphic card or extra memory, and you want your specific pods to exactly land there. Think of node like an apartment building. Node selector and node affinity are your tenant, your pod, saying I specifically want to live in this building because it has a swimming pool, which represent your GPU. That's the pod expressing where it wants to go. There are two ways to do this: node selector and node affinity. Node selector is simple. In your pod spec, you write node selector GPU true. Kubernetes will schedule this pod on a node which has exactly the same label. GPU equals true. It is simple but rigid. Exact match or nothing. On the other hand, node affinity is a powerful upgrade. It has two modes: required during scheduling, ignored during execution. It is a hard rule. Node must match, otherwise the pod will stay in pending forever. Second rule is preferred during scheduling, ignored during execution. It is a soft rule. Kubernetes tried to match but schedule the pod anyway if no matching node exists. This flexibility is what node selector can never give you. Let's run a live demo now. To control label node, add the label GPU is equal to true to our node. So node is labeled now. This is simulating that this is our special GPU node. We apply the node selector.yml file. First the content, let me copy the content. Escape. Now let's apply this file. Okay. So node selector pod created. This pod uses node selector GPU equal to true. That means this is exact match. Let's confirm if it is landed on the labeled node. Kube control get pod wise confirm that it has landed on the mini cube. That's exactly the GPU node. So the mini cube is the only node with the label, so that it's landed there. Now let's check the affinity pod.yml file. Okay, affinity pod created. If you look at this YML file, it's using preferred during scheduling and ignored during execution. So it prefers a GPU node, not forced into. So it also lands on Minikube since it matches the node preference. But unlike node selector, if no GPU node exists, this pod will still schedule somewhere instead of getting stuck. So the key takeaway is node selector is simple but rigid. Exact match or pending forever. On the other hand, node affinity is flexible. Rigid for hard rules, preferred for soft rules so that it let the pod schedule. That's all for today. I hope you are practicing. Thanks for more.